Hello, I'm John Coleman from ApocatastasisInstitute, an Institute for the Humanities and Alternative College and High School here on New Milford, Connecticut, USA. The purpose of this broadcast is to alert you to the 2025 False Flags and Conspiracies Conference, organized by Dr. James Fetzer, Miss Lorian Fenton, and Mr. Gary King. All the necessary links will be down below, and we will shortly have them on our screen besides. We benefit very greatly from Dr. Fetzer here at the Institute. We've lately concluded the Logic and Conspiracy 101 class that he so graciously led us through for the past couple of months. And of course, Dr. Fetzer and I bi-weekly have produced a news show for about the past year and a half. But the benefit of this man and his confederates, Miss Lorian Fenton and Mr. Gary King, do not end there. And for some years, Dr. Fetzer and co. have been organizing this online conference free on Zoom each year, as it is this year. And I see a parallel in our work, if I could elaborate on that briefly before we get to our main attraction. So in my bailiwick of education, one of the things one tires of after a while is the critique without action. Ideas without actions are in effect pointless. I lately put out a newsletter observing this, that mediocrities seem to understand that better. Hence, literally for 100, 150 years, there has been a very robust critique of modern pedagogy, and it really doesn't seem to go anywhere. And part of that is because oftentimes people with good ideas, they stall out there. They stall out in the ideal and they don't instantiate. And so I kind of see a parallel between this conference that takes our attention here and apokatastasis, meaning we're trying to move beyond just the critique in my world of education into an actual verbing solution. And likewise, I see this the case with this conference, meaning we have endless podcasts. Literally, if you were to put back to back on double, triple speed, the amount of podcast conspiracy content, political content out there, and you didn't have to go to the bathroom, you didn't have to sleep, you didn't have to eat. Literally, you and I would die before we got through all the podcasts that had heretofore been published and are freely available, to say nothing of articles and books and so forth. We have endless information, even on this bandwidth, on this particular science. What we're missing in the so-called alternative community is organization of any of this, let alone instantiation. And that's where conferences come in. And that's why conferences like the False Flags and Conspiracy one are so valuable, because we can take out the froth of the podcast medium, which often involves advertising necessarily. That's just the dynamic of the field of all broadcast media. Hence, you remove the distractions, right? You have wall-to-wall presentations coming up this weekend, organized, and also not just long form, but also resources, book references, and further resources. And many of these conferences, if not all of them, will have a Q&A period afterwards, so you can really pick the mind of the presenter in a way that recorded telephonia does not allow. So I want to congratulate Dr. Fetzer, Ms. Fenton, and Mr. King for putting on this conference, because it is really taking this study and this focus of conspiracies and news and current events and really bringing us into the next stage, which is organizing this material in a sober and long-form fashion. Okay, so that's the big picture. And speaking of pictures, let's get our screen share all queued up. And you can find out Dr. Fetzer's site and kind of nibble away at some of his class recordings by going to our collaboration page and clicking on James Fetzer, PhD. And you can see some of his conspiracy classes, and please God, he will run future courses with us. But here, towards this weekend's events, is the website that you want. And On this site, you will see all the necessary information. Do note that everything is on Central Time, so adjust your time zones and synchronize your watches appropriately. My presentation is scheduled for 10 o'clock in the morning on Saturday the 13th, which means I'm going to be there because I'm on Eastern time. I have to synchronize my watch at 11 Eastern, which is 10 Central. So if you're not familiar with time zones, a lot of people aren't because it doesn't come up maybe in your day-to-day. You have to adjust the time zones to get the proper conferences you're interested in. You can find out all about the speakers, the schedule, how to get the free tickets. There's no shortage of methods and buttons to take you over to that. Of course, you want to click on the sponsors and friends site. Yes, this is free, but if you have the ability to contribute or buy the different books and so forth of the presenters, this is a good thing. This is also, frankly, part of moving beyond just ideal talk. Part of instantiating these ideas and this critique and hopefully coming to solutions is also ponying up money to build up things like these conferences, things like the broadcast media, schools. When we have a problem, it's not enough to sit on ideas. We have to put our money where our mouth is, put our backs to the wheel. We have so many similes, but they're more than similes, really, in this instance. So please do help out the sponsors and different presenters. Okay. And if you are in the state in life that you can broadcast this, you want some press releases or whatever, just click on the contact and they'll try to accommodate you there. So there's so much going on. And I just want to conclude the final points of this broadcast with my worthy presentation, please God. Again, on Saturday, the 13th at 11 a.m. Eastern, 10 Central. So, as the button indicates, my presentation is entitled Hedging Their Bets, Ukraine as Prelude. I'm just reading the little write-up that I sent to them, Fetzer, Lorian, and King, when they were querying for presenters. So, the title is in the bubble, and the description is such. The war in Ukraine is not an end in itself. In this talk, John Coleman will argue that the Russian Federation and NATO/the US globalists are preparing for a larger continental conflict, and that the present conflict is merely quote-unquote spring training for the real war to come. A special attention will be given to the study of historical cycles and the placing of these geopolitical contingencies within this paradigm. So, the war in Ukraine is coming up on 4 years. Why do you think that is? Simple infusions of cash and weapons and mercenaries do not explain this. The reality is, and this is my thesis coming up, is that both the Western globalists and the partisans of Russia, Belarus, and so forth, different allies there too, North Korea is involved in the war, of the tens of thousands. Both sides know that this is simply the dress rehearsal or the prelude to the real conflict that's coming, the real showdown between the two antagonistic blocs later this decade or early in the next decade. So, to prove this, besides reading the tea leaves of the blog posts and the articles and the books put out by different movers and shakers on both sides, which we shall do, we're also going to look at historical cycles, which is another favorite of ours at ApocatastasIs. In fact, I'm presently teaching a course on such. So we're going to look at things like the Neil Howe fourth turning and things with Spengler and Toynbee, different men, different worldviews, but they all palpitate a similar rhythm to history, and that rhythm also includes, unfortunately, sanguinary conflicts, which can be almost predicted down to the decade when you have these sorts of things. So there you go. There's a little teaser. And between now and then, I'm going to be brushing up on the appropriate information to give the best presentation possible. And I should say, in the new year, when all is said and done and dusted, we have been asked, ApocatastasisInstitute has been asked to archive 5 and 6 years of the conference. So you're going to have a wealth of information at your fingertips available on the Apocatastasis website, free for review, free for study and meditation, please God. But first things first, sign up for the False Flags and Conspiracies Con. You see everything you need here. Do once again note the time zone. All the times you're going to see here are on Central Time. So there are easy ways to convert this if this is brand new for you. I had to learn all this stuff just with my own broadcast work. It was long in coming, but there are websites that can help you depending on your time zone that can easily adjust and help you get the right time. But with all of that being said, I thank you for your attention. And with you, I'm very much looking forward to this 20 and 25 False Flags and Conspiracies Conference. Thank you so much. See ya this weekend.